All right, we'll go ahead and call the August the 23rd, 2010 Public Safety Committee to order. I'll entertain a motion for the minutes of last month.
Motion approved.
Got a motion
Second.
and a second. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is carried. First on the agenda is the wheel tax officer's report. I believe you got that in front of you.
Good afternoon, good evening, gentlemen. Glad to be here. I don't have anything unless you have a question like that. The wheel tax from the school, when I left this afternoon, we had 93 in process coming in. So they are falling in quite quickly, you know.
This is your first one.
This is the first one that we processed this many, but we, like I said, had 93 to process as of this afternoon, you know.
Oh, boy.
And I think we kind of got the kinks out of it and it's working, I hope.
That makes a whole lot of us in this county.
Yes.
Any questions on Bart's report? And if there's not any questions, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Is that it?
Commissioner Hall, Commissioner Daniel, I want to thank y'all for your service. I appreciate what you've done for me. If I can help any of you, all of you, but if I can help you too, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Appreciate your kindness.
Yes, sir.
Juvenile detention report, and I think it's on your desk as well.
Okay. What you have in front of you is our usual report. The only thing that's different in this report is that we have added under our items of our job readiness program that we're doing for the kids that are detained. It's a program where we allow the kids to practice some interview questions and filling out applications and that sort of thing. And we've also tried to add some information at the bottom of the report as to what counties we're still waiting to hear from. But just as a note, we billed this round on the 3rd of August, so they're not technically late until the 9th, the 3rd of September. So, but that's kind of a breakdown of who owes what. And then I have some contracts again this month.
All right. Oh, before we do the contracts, is there any questions on her report?
Linda, on the miscellaneous information, those amounts you've got down for those counties, is that consistent with what they usually owe?
Yes.
That's good.
Anybody else? Entertain a
Motion to
motion.
approve the report.
Second.
Motion and a second on the report. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is carried. I think you've
And
got two,
I've
right?
also, well, I've got 3. I've included Benton County, Macon County, and Lake County. This is the same as last month. We just have 3 new counties that would like to contract with Rutherford County for detention services if and when they need them. And as usual, we always make sure that we have plenty of beds for Rutherford County kids before we accept any out-of-county youth.
Is there any questions on the contracts? I guess.
So they're all essentially the same, aren't they?
Yes.
Names are changed to protect the innocent.
And the legal department has been through them.
Yes, and we talked last month about the county, on the last page, county mayor, county executive, and I had actually used an older contract that I had saved on my computer that just says county executive on it, but the ones that I now have do say both county and county executive / county mayor. But the ones that are going to be coming in, because it's the ones that those counties have signed off on, still just have that single wording, but my new ones do not.
Motion approved.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
And a second. All right, discussion on the contracts. Hearing or seeing none. All in favor of the motion say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Is that it?
That's it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, gentlemen.
OSHA report. And I think you've got that on the table as well.
Month of July, you'll notice that by the report, we had a total of 11 injuries requiring medical treatment. You'll see the breakdown there. For the year to date, that totals 112 of those. 73 are have OSHA reportable, and we had 24 with restricted days, 23 with lost time days, and 26 were others. On the next page, you can kind of see what the chart looks like. We've had a fairly good report coming out for the last 3 months. Just to kind of give you an idea of where that stands for the year. For this year, year to date, at the end of July, we've had 112 total compared to 2009, we had 136. And in 2008, we had 131. So we're down right now from where we were. I contribute some of that to the success we had with the Board of Ed. Told you all last month about targeting the summer custodians and doing the floors and all. The numbers are in. We had a total of 18 in 2009 by the custodians during the summer, and this year we had a total of 4, which is a drop of 77%. And working with Tim Street and myself, we're targeting some other issues that we've had. Hopefully we'd get that same type of results, so we're moving forward with that. As you look through the report, you'll notice that of the 11 we had, 4 of those injuries were with the Board of Education, and 7 were with the County General for the month.
Any questions on the OSHA report? Don't see any or hear any. I need a
Sounds
motion.
really great. That's a comment, not a question.
I will say, safety awareness and emphasis, and people are really picking up on the training. Board of Education, I may have mentioned, Tim Street is experiencing 80% to 90% completion on the training just with the Board of Education alone. And the county is right there, right behind them, but it's 78 to 80%. So the training is doing a lot, and the safety awareness is doing a lot. I think we're finally starting to see some of that come back in the claims.
Prevention always pays off in the long run.
And training, yes, sir. Awareness. You're absolutely right.
Anybody else? If there's none, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the report.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. Thank you.
Dan, just a second before you leave. Next month, could you bring us a comparison of dollars so far through, it'll be through August of this year as compared, let's just say, through last year?
Dollars for August this
From
year
January-
to last year.
Yeah.
January, yes.
January through August this year and January through August last year. Just what the total.
Yes, sir, definitely, no problem.
Thank you.
But before we go any further, I was, I should have said this at first. Some of you may not realize that drug court is not on the agenda tonight. Mary has been out. I think she had an accident while she was visiting her son, and she had to have some emergency surgery. And I had told Vicki to be sure and put it in y'all's boxes to let y'all know. So that's one reason she's not here tonight. So just wanted to let everybody know that our prayers are with her. So with that, ambulance service report.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. All right, go right ahead.
Made 1,818 calls in July. Average response time 7.6 minutes. And we had 35 coroner's calls. The number of calls and the number of coroner's calls are both increased.
I was gonna say, was the DOA would have something to do with the heat too?
It could have technically had something to do with it, but we didn't have anybody per se.
Yeah. It basically doubled from last year.
That kind of heat can cause all sorts of medical
Yeah.
problems. So. We billed $1,123,126, collected $524,482, which puts us on a projected yearly collection of 6.2. We had $378,662 worth of insurance write-offs and $102,584 collection agency write-offs, and county discount of $5,308. They had supervisor vacancies in North End, 14 24-hour shifts out of the month. And we have the table for mileage and ambulances on the bottom part of the page. I might just tell you that the 4 new ambulances were put into service today. They were inspected on Friday of last week by the state and went into service today, so we should start seeing some difference there. We drove a total of 35,480 miles, and we made 341 out-of-zone calls. The next page covers our in-services and training for React and SORT and Bicycle and the Sheriff's TOPS team. The next page is ambulance calls broken down by the zones. We had 2 out-of-county calls. Those were both mutual aid to Cannon County. Had 58 critical transport team calls. And the transport team also answered 57 911 calls, which is a grand total of 1,818. The next page is ambulance calls broken down by commissioners' districts. And we have some thank you notes.
Does anybody have any questions for Mike on his report?
Make a motion to approve.
Got a motion, to have a second?
Second.
And a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion carries. That it?
Thank you.
All right, thank y'all. All right, Paul's report, and then it's on the desk as well. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you, sir?
Doing good.
Nothing other than normal for our July report. Had 803 total intakes for the month of July, 175 adoptions, 510 animals euthanized. The adoption reclaim rate for July was 25%. Euthanasia rate was 64%. We had 2,592 people coming through the shelter in July looking for a lost or new pet. On the next page, our total calls, requests for service, 1,363. With carryover calls, a lot of the carryover calls that were completed were trap calls. People who've been on the list waiting for traps to be available. That total is 1,443. And then a breakdown of where those calls originated from and the mileage. In July, we had a total of 38 bites reported. 13 of those animals were tested with no positive. On the other rabies exposure, we had 5 reported and tested, and we had 1 that was an unsatisfactory result, which is counted as a positive. And that was over off the River Rock Boulevard area, a skunk that was killed by a person's dogs.
Any questions for Tracy?
Motion approved.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
And a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you. Correctional Work Center report. How you doing tonight? Thank you, sir.
Let's see what you got here. See our average July counts, it's staying about 182. So we've been around there 180s, 190s for the entire month of July. August, same thing. We haven't seen that much change so far. It'll increase as fall sets in towards the winter season. Programs are going pretty good. GD's about, see that shows 0, but we're about to start that because they took off for the summer. And they'll start again, I think the second week of next month, September, so we'll start going. And that number's going to actually be higher than in the past because we're going to have evening classes also and remedial classes. So that's going to be increased. The work crews, this is the July report, and you see what we've been saving the county-wide. This one shows almost $150,000 for the month of July.
That basically is for county government,
Right.
the city of Murfreesboro, town of Smyrna, the city of Laverne, and Eagleville.
And Eagle, that's exactly.
So that shows about $150,000 of tax dollars that's being saved.
Saved for these
Having
crews
that-
going out working these man hours, yep. So it's a pretty good chunk right there. And this,
Is that basically filled out or figured as far as minimum wage?
right, yes it is. And we got the county road pickups, estimate about 23 tons, 115 miles were covered, over 115 miles. Average of 8 men work crews. And that was for June. They're still working on the July stats for that. And as far as we covered at a board meeting, we have some open positions. We conducted interviews and we're about to hire about 4 individuals in the next couple of weeks. They've been through the process. They're going through the pre-employment process right now. We're about to install a fence around the generator and some security gates and some security signs around the facility so people just can't have free access towards the back of the rear of the building anymore. That's about it.
That I got.
Yes, all right.
Any questions on his report?
Motion to approve.
Got a motion, do I have a second? And a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Anything else?
Thank you.
All right,
Appreciate it.
appreciate it. Sheriff Department report. Thank you. How you doing?
You may just sign it. Thank you.
Go right ahead.
Okay, we have two budget amendment requests. The first one is to recognize donations of $2,354. We'd like to put that into our $399 account. And the second one is just to do a transfer within our budget for $15,000, moving it into data processing services.
Motion approved. Got a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
And a second. All right, any discussion on the motion that's on the floor? Hearing or seeing none, call the roll.
Commissioner Black?
Yes.
Commissioner Daniels?
Yes.
Commissioner Hall?
Yes.
Commissioner Petty?
Yes.
Commissioner Schaefer?
Yes.
Commissioner Farley?
Yes. You want to look over the report, and is there anything, I guess this
No.
is the second month in the budget, so
We're doing good.
everything looks good.
This motion for the 819 Explorer car show, is that what these young men are sitting back here for? Just out of curiosity.
No. I think that's a Boy Scout.
I think they may be here
I
to,
think that's Boy Scout.
some badge requirements or something.
Yes, sir.
All right, if there's no questions on the report, I'll entertain a motion.
Move to approve.
Got a motion to have a second,
Second.
and a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion is carried.
Thank you.
Before you leave, I'd like to say something. I'd like to thank, I've been on this committee for the 16 years that I've been on the county commission, and I'd like to thank Regina and the sheriff and administration at the sheriff's office for the professionalism that you brought up here with us.
Thank you.
Just want to thank y'all.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure serving.
And I think we could all say the same thing, really. Back up our chairman.
Thank you very much. We
That's
appreciate
true.
that. Appreciate that.
County Fire Department.
I appreciate that. I will before it's over with. The first sheet is just my report of the activities I've done over the last month. One thing I do want to point out at the bottom of the page, Saturday night, I guess it was around 10 o'clock, the Sheriff's Department called me, and Lascassas had responded to a large oak tree that had been struck by lightning. It was about 200 years old. It was a massive tree. And they went out there, and it was close to a big pavilion. The homeowner had a big pavilion out beside it, and they were concerned about it spreading, and they really wasn't much they could do. And they were called back later to the scene because the tree was actually flaming up. The tree was actually hollow, and it had burnt the whole inside of the tree, and they were trying to cut into the trunk of the tree where they could get in and hose it down. And one of the limbs was massive limbs. The tree just kind of mushroomed and split, and it buried 3 of them up under all this. And we ended up transporting 2 of them, one of them with a leg injury and one of them with a shoulder injury, but they were treated and released that night. So I did want to make y'all aware of that. So thank goodness, it could have been a very dangerous situation. Second page is the report on the county rescue, the rescue part of the fire department. We started July 1st, and these are every one of, I went ahead and documented every one of the rescue calls that we made. As you look down there, you see on the right-hand corner the response times, and then, of course, there were some that were canceled. But since July 1st, the average response time for Rutherford and Smyrna Rescue was anywhere from 15 to 17 minutes, and we dropped that down to an average of about 7.5 minutes response time. Now, taking consideration that Kittrell Fire Department has not come online yet, they're about to finish up their training, and I was told today they would probably start September the 3rd, which is on a Friday. And of course, that'll be our 5 response districts online then, and that should create the response time of the 14 minutes that you see, and most of them is where they've traveled from College Street all the way out to Bradable Pike or all the way out to John Bragg. And then one of them down there, Weekly Lane, which Rescue 15 is on over right off of Allenville Road, so that's kind of on the other end of their district. But for the most part, we've cut our response times in half.
And by doing that, it saves lives and property.
Well, I mean, you talk about the golden hour. The quicker we can get there and get them out, the quicker EMS can package them and transport them. So we're very proud of that accomplishment right there, because that's one of the main goals we set out to do.
Looks like the majority of them is during high volume, traffic time during the day.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty good time response.
And they've been doing a good job of manning the stations. They have got a calendar up and working in shifts and trying to keep this stations manned. That's Allenville Fire, Kittrell comes online in September, and then of course Allenville and Rutherford County stations are manned. Walt Hills manned their station too, so that's another one of the districts. So I mean, they're doing a great job. I just can't say enough about how much they've really come together and really supported this program. The next page.
Larry, before you go on,
Okay.
a question about the response. Are y'all dispatched at the same time as the ambulance service?
We're actually probably dispatched a little bit before, because the call comes into the sheriff's department, and then they dispatch the rescue at the same while one of the dispatchers swaps the call over to EMS, so they drop it down to EMS. They dispatch the ambulance.
I was just curious, after we get into this a while, I'd like to look at the response times, comparing them from them. Of course, the stations are different places, so, I mean, I realize there's gonna be a difference there, but that might tell us where we could probably use some more ambulance stations in the future, or more rescue units, so.
One of the other problems we have encountered with rescue trucks and the fire trucks too is we've taken on county. We've been spending quite a bit of time on little maintenance issues, brake pads on the fire trucks, and some electrical problems with rescue vehicles. But they've been, so far they've been minor, and we've been able to keep them in service. But if we have one go out of service, we do have enough that we can actually Amble can swap over to their service company, and we pull that rescue unit and put it wherever there's have one down. So if we have one down, we still have things in place where we can make sure that they have a vehicle to run. The next page is...
Yeah, this is really, I just wanted to ask about the fatal. I'd assume the one on I-24 was a vehicle accident of
Yes.
some kind, and the
Well,
other two?
all these are motor vehicle accidents.
Okay,
That's
if I
response
looked
time
at
for-
the top, yeah. And just tell me then, Rocky Fork at Caton Trail, do you know where that is off the top of your head?
I know where Rocky Fork is. It's
Yeah.
off Amble Road.
Yeah.
That's that dump truck that was out. It's the
Yeah.
old Rocky Fork going towards Knowles.
We had a
Okay, so it's near,
had a
right
dump
up
truck
by-
overturned and ejected the driver, and he was partially up under the vehicle.
Yeah,
And
okay.
they were talking to him, and when by the time they got him extricated, he passed. That was kind of hard on all of our EMS units and the rescue guys too. The next page is I offered a grant class at the EOC through the Tennessee Fire Academy, and this also gives a certificate from the National Fire Academy, which is free to the firefighters, and of course, they get certificates from both academies. And this was strategy and tactics for company operations, which is a real good class for company officers. And you'll see out there, I showed you the number of firefighters I have from each department to show up. Even had 3 from Columbia Fire Department showed up, and had for a total of 21 people in that class. So I'd like to see a better turnout from Rutherford County, but I was tickled to have 21. Next page is the water usage reports. And then the last page is, includes the water usage and training hours. We have a total of 1,924 training hours this month for all 10 departments.
Is District 11,
District 11,
And-
District 41 are combined in the county fire department. That just shows different stations. Of course, that's probably not accurate because the 928 hours is the county fire department. They have those every Thursday night. And we got a training committee set up, and I'm going to try to start offering classes at least once a month for the whole county, which all the county firefighters are invited to the training they have on Thursday night, and they are identified certified fire instructors. So, I mean, everybody's invited to that if they want to participate, but I told them I would like to have some training on Saturday for those who work during the week or work night shift. They're all able to make those training pick times.
any questions?
Motion approved, his report.
Got a motion, do I have a second?
Second.
And a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion carries. Anything else?
That's it.
All right, appreciate it. Next is the Emergency Management Agency.
Good evening.
How you doing?
Pretty good. A little drier.
Feeling it.
We have one of the main things that we had to deal with just recently this last weekend, Friday, Saturday. We were dealing with a lot of weather, heavy rains and flash flooding throughout the county, and it was drying up, or at least the flooding was going down almost as quick as the rain stopped. But we have a lot of citizens that are very aware of flooding right now, and we're very concerned, and we did respond out to talk to quite a few families. They are calling us, and Commissioner Farley called me on a couple that they had called him, and they were very appreciative that we were come out and talk to them.
If you could follow up on that one at Kimbrough, because he called me back again today, and CUD is supposed to have come out there and met with him today concerning their...
Mr. Richardson, Watson?
Watson.
Yes, sir, and I tried calling him today and left a message. Nothing really out of the ordinary in this month's report.
The two hazmats on 820 and 821 on East Buckeye Bottom. The
Yes,
same
sir.
place?
Yes, sir.
Same cause?
We did not find any, they called it in as possible gas leak. We didn't find any indication of that. We feel it was possibly, could have been sewer gases backing up from a dry vent or trap or something. We never did find anything. But in both cases, we responded out just in case, because you don't know.
Okay. Make a motion to approve the report.
Got a motion to approve, have a second.
Second.
Have a second. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
I have one other thing to cover with you. I do not have the grant, but I do have what the dollars are and what it's for, and I wanted to let you know ahead of time. They told us that I would have this grant this week, and these are the dollars of equipment that was approved by the UASC for 2010. And Smyrna Fire was approved for hazmat trailer, to replace their hazmat trailer, and mobile data systems for their trailer, which is basically laptops. We got $84,000 for SCBAs for volunteer fire. We have $21,264 to go into the strike team trailer, which the SORT team houses one of those. It's an EMS strike team that the UASC started up, and we have one of them. We bought the trailer is out of the 09 money, and this has the equipment for it. PPE for EMS, it's the bloodborne pathogen protection. They were granted $80,000 for that. The next few things are for our law enforcement, the Sheriff's Office, Laverne PD, Smyrna PD, Murfreesboro PD, and that's a portable light tower, throw phone cord reels, license plate recognition with back office and without. I don't know what that is, but it's something that goes in their patrol cars that helps them zoom up on a license plate and identify it from a distance instead of having to be on the bumper, from what I understand. And that would be out in our local law enforcement entities. And a soft ballistic shield, I believe that's for training on the law enforcement. And then the last, or 11 and 12, are portable radios and mobile radios. This was after we did a survey of all public safety throughout the county on what radios they had that were not narrowband capable and didn't meet those requirements as Homeland Security had, and we were granted the money. This money actually buys every one that we were short of not having, and that's for the volunteers and the paid departments. It covers every one of them. That was the dollar amount total with that list. And then CCP funds, we got $2,111. And for Rutherford County, $441,959.
That's actually more than we anticipated he can get from out of UASC, correct?
It was a little bit more than that, and it's a whole lot more than we used to get out of District 6. But the other thing, and the reason I'm bringing this tonight, they told me I would have the contract, and I would like not to have to wait a whole month before we could bring it up again, the contract. If that contract comes, I would like...
If that contract comes, go ahead and go to budget with it. And you wouldn't have to worry about coming to public
Well,
safety.
that's what I'm asking for the mayor to sign the contract and go through the process. If it comes before that happens. If not, then it'll just have to be next month.
But if it comes
Yes, sir.
at the time, that way we can go expedite and get that going, if that's okay with the committee.
It's fine with me. Just out of curiosity, like these scubas, when will the departments get those, assuming the contract came in this month?
Well, once the executed contract comes back, which is probably 4 months out. So the sooner we're able to get it in, the sooner we get it back. And we can buy on it as soon as we have it.
So we won't have to wait a year and a half or something?
No,
like
sir.
that to- okay.
No, sir.
That was one reason I said if something comes in, and if it's say 2 or 3 weeks, just go ahead and go to budget with it. Don't
There
worry
was
about it.
there was a lot of, I fought for it. Larry Farley fought for money for SCBA, and we got $84,000.
That's good.
Let me ask a question again about the radios.
Yes, sir.
Everybody in the county now has them. All police forces, all fire departments, all rescue squads, no matter
That
whether
was-
they're
yes,
city
sir.
or
That is
county or
correct.
volunteer.
That is correct.
So, right now, anybody will be able to talk with everybody. Is
No,
that-
these radios that we have to buy are the shortfall throughout
Yeah.
all the agencies. Once all that is done, yes.
Okay.
Well, there are some that have got the 700 and the 800 megahertz that can't.
But
we can do that
We
through
can cross-patch.
the cross-patching and that. So yes,
Right.
we're still able to do that.
Okay.
You're not going to give everybody an 800 or 700
Right.
radio if they talk on you or VHF.
Right.
Yes, sir. But this, and I was very proud of the county. This shows, this low dollar amount shows that our county and each one of the municipalities have done a good job in coming up to the narrowband standard and meeting those requirements of Homeland Security. And so we have the least amount of radio needs than any other county in the UASC.
Well, that's marvelous. How did you get that done?
We've all worked together over the years. Narrowband wasn't something that just happened yesterday. We've been
No,
pushing
I
since
remember-
'95.
I remember when we had a meeting or two, even during the time I've been on the commission.
And it says a lot about the leadership of all of our public safety entities. We should be very proud of what they have been able to do. And this just brings them up and finishes that off. Helps them a little bit.
Smyrna Fire Department worked last week on cross-patching where they could talk to county fire department. So I'm looking to have a good working relationship with Chief Culberson.
All right. Any questions?
Thought we already got that on just a second. Do you want a motion on this?
Yeah, if
Oh,
that
yeah.
grant comes, I want to be able to pass it
Yeah,
on
we
up
got
to
it.
finance and then full commission for the mayor to sign it.
A motion.
A
Second.
motion and a second. Our discussion. Hearing none. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, motion is carried.
I will say though, I won't be here to fight for it, but y'all that are staying, this doesn't fix the blackout problems we've got with the radios. We're still this radio system that they're working on. I asked y'all to take a hard look at it and support it if you can, because, again, every day we've got deputies and EMS out there who can't communicate.
I agree 100% with that. I know Mayor Burgess and the committee that was put together
We're working diligently.
working diligently on that, and it's going to be some dollars.
Yeah, it ain't free.
No.
Roger, go ahead and tell them, we actually have the official lease signed by the state of
Yes,
Tennessee that gives us the Tiger Hill Tower site.
We have that, plus we've been through zoning and got approved for the height that we need to go with the tower, and we'll be getting the building permit to take down the old tower and building and do the new. So we're in, Tiger Hill is the starting point, the hub of this new system, which is going to simulcast and hopefully fix most of our problems. I will never say it'll do 100%, because as soon as you think you have 100%, something's going to happen. So
There's nothing 100%.
I like to see 95, 98.
Okay.
All right.
All right, I appreciate it.
Thank you. All right. Next on the agenda is going to be any other business, and I've got something I'd like to bring up. First thing I'd like to do is, I know this is our last Public Safety Committee meeting for the year. I want to personally and publicly thank Commissioner Daniels and Commissioner Hall for their work that they've done. I think both of y'all have been on this committee for I think 4 years that you've been up here. I appreciate everything that y'all have done for public safety. You've been leaders in that sector, and I appreciate you. I just want to publicly tell you that I appreciate it, and I know hopefully the rest of the committee and the department heads and the departments in public safety, I think as well, feel the same way. So, thank y'all.
Thank you.
Sir, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Anybody else got any other business? Hearing or seeing none, we stand adjourned. Thank y'all.